Hi everyone, it's Rena here. Welcome to my room, guys. Hope you are well today. Let's make a bit more room for Humphrey the ENTP. I don't know if he's ENTP. Does he have the style of an ENTP? Does he have the cheekiness, the endless creativity? His face is a little crooked. That seems quite ENTP. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about what INFJs think of ENTPs or how they see ENTPs. We're due for a little update, and hopefully you stick around. Don't forget you can get my book on the INFJ, the Ecstatic Soul. Links are all below. Get it on Amazon, less than $10. Deepest investigation into the type. Look at the reviews. And my new novel, The Infinite Castle, relatively recent. Came out 2022. It's a novel. If you like modern writing, suspenseful, creative, magic realist. Main character is an INFJ apparently, so check it out. And you can support me on Patreon, really helps the channel. Thank you. So, now, Patreon link is down below. I used to think that, I used to be a little bit, maybe overly optimistic about the point of view of INFJs on ENTPs. Maybe I was looking at the relationship through rose-tinted glasses. And today, unfortunately, my friends, we're going to have to revise that picture significantly and face the facts with tough resoluteness and fortitude. So, basically, I think as far as INFJs online, the bulk of them, their view of ENTPs is not very positive. Notice that this is not the same thing as to discuss the potential of INFJ-ENTP relationships. It could be the case that a relationship with a particular type is good for you, on average, given X, Y, and Z reasons. And yet the overall view of that type is not positive. And therefore that in order to cultivate that kind of relationship, an extra effort has to be made to overcome certain kinds of prejudices, for instance. Could be in one way, could be the other direction, or it can be in both directions. We see that with INFJ's views of INFPs, for instance. I am still convinced that an INFP-INFJ relationship has real potential in terms of growth, but the view of INFPs by INFJs is not always very positive, which is interesting because I think the view of INFJs by INFPs tends to be a bit more positive, And this is based on me reading the comments on my videos on INFPs. I think it's similar for ENTPs, except not quite for the same reasons. INFJ's views of ENTPs, especially online, are colored by the fact that they tend to view ENTPs as the sort of archetypal trolls. People who don't take things seriously, people who like joking around, people who are borderline sociopathic at times, who always constantly changing the topic, shifting the goalposts, can't keep a focus, and just, thrive on provocation. And that type exists online, and it's quite likely that among people that, belong to that category, ENTPs are heavily represented. Now, we immediately have to add that we'd be dealing with ENTPs whose FE function is not integrated at all. And I think that that's the kind of ENTPs that INFJs tend to steer clear of, stay away from, because these people can be childlike in a kind of malicious way and manipulative, and they make you kind of waste your time, and they really don't provide for any growth for your NI function particularly. The potential of for the growth of NI is there if NI is allowed to explore a function that's kind of foreign to it, but to be given time to adjust to it and to understand it from various perspectives. But if And he's constantly kind of trolling or shifting the goalposts and calling attention away from the main crux of the matter. Then and I'm going to get very frustrated, which is why you tend to see older INFJs and older ENTPs get on very well, because they've become more mature. They have got their FE integrated on the ENTP side. The INFJs relaxed a little bit. And then they get to a stage where actually there's potentially a lot of, positive attitudes in both directions. Because the types have gotten to a stage where they can actually, they're mature enough, they've grown enough that they are able to bring to the other side something extra, and so you will actually see in real life, that happens in my life, and it happens in the life of other ENTP friends and other INFJ friends, that, they get on together, they get on well, and they can be friends. Again, usually the INFJ will have been a little bit hardened by, and by hardened I don't mean made more cynical, but made a little bit, the skin a little bit thicker by integrated FE a lot more, something that I advocate for. And the ENTP will be a little bit more centered by the integration of the FE function as well. So it's interesting because in both cases, at least for the sake of a positive relationship between them, the key, I think, resides in the FE function here. But if you were to ask me what is the view of ENTPs by INFJs, how do INFJs see NTPs online, as far as we can see in YouTube comments and in that community, I can't just come to you and say, oh, it's very positive, FE and NE and NI are very complementary, because that's not really answering the question, and that's really not looking at the facts. INFJs see ENTPs in a way that is usually not very positive. Let us face the facts. Let us ask ourselves the question, can this change? And can this be beneficial if it does change? Or does it present dangers? Are we exposing ourselves or making ourselves vulnerable to things that we don't want to happen? And if that were the case, is the implication that it's just better to wait until, maybe we meet a mature ENTP in real life or something like that, and let that relationship carry us where it may, but not force it because of all those little obstacles that stand in the path. So those were my observations on how INFJs see ENTPs. Let me know in the comments what you think. Usually, in the past, the comments have not been very positive. So I'd be curious to see if that still remains the case, or if there is a slight improvement. Let me know in the comments, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.